You know, I first became aware of legal services when I was in college. I took a business law class. I was a business major, and the law professor was a woman. I'd never known an attorney up until that time, let alone a woman attorney. She said, "Why don't you take my paralegal classes?" And I graduated with a business degree and a certification in paralegal studies. And she said, "You really should go to law school." And I told her I needed a job. I needed to make money. And so she said, "Well, I have friends who are hiring into legal services." And during my interview, I was asked, "Why does a graduate from USC want to come here to work with a low-income community?" So I had to give them my background and tell them who I was. My brother, sister, and I grew up in poverty. My mother was single, had a household. At a time where, for a woman being divorced, a single mom, was scandalous. By the time I was 11, my mother began to show signs of mental health challenges. She was diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder. And at that time, again, people were institutionalized. And so we struggled a great deal. Yeah, it brings tears to my eyes. Yeah. I grew up in the neighborhoods we serve. I experienced a lot of what our clients go through. You never forget that. So I know what it's like not to have rent money and to beg a landlord to wait for you to pay the rent. I know what it feels like not to have food on the table. You know, those experiences never leave you.
She had to raise her younger brother and become the adult in the family.
There are stories of her learning how to drive and driving when she was 13 years old because she had to make ends meet for her family so that her and her two siblings wouldn't end up in child services and make it seem like everything was normal and drive her siblings to school.
I never thought I could go to college. It was my teachers who said, "You're going to college."
She graduated with a degree in business administration. 1 month later, she joined Neighborhood Legal Services as a paralegal in the Pacoima office.
I was very intimidated. I'd never worked in an office setting. I had always worked in factories. I looked at the attorneys as very dedicated and committed to the work of transforming low-income communities, and they really contributed to encouraging me to go to law school.
We did marry in 1983, and when Yvonne walked in her graduation garb to get her diploma in 1984, she was 9 months pregnant with our first child, Brian.
When I became a new attorney, there were very few women lawyers in the organization. Countless times that I walked into a courtroom to check in and I was asked if I was a client, I was asked if I was a court interpreter. Housing was my expertise. And so I did a lot of landlord, tenant, and eviction cases. And I remember a week in particular where several households were coming into the office with notices of eviction. And they were all on the same street in Burbank. And we got to the homes and I said, well, the airport, it's right there. The intent was to displace them before they were aware of the expansion of the airport. Not only were they entitled to relocation benefits, they were entitled to relocation expenses under the federal act, which gave them all enough money to purchase homes. And so that's where I learned to not just focus on the issue in front of you, the eviction. It's like, why is it happening?
From a very young age, she took us to the office because she was a very career-oriented, but also a very normal mom.
I became friends with all the paralegals and all the assistants. She was constantly working, but she would always be home in time to make dinner. Mom always made dinner. She was the queen of a crock pot because she had to go and work a full day and then we'd come home and have crock pot meals.
My children cut their teeth on the legal aid rug, literally. They can all tell you the number of community meetings they went to, board meetings they went to. Afternoons they would spend in my office doing their homework.
I would go to weekend fairs where NLS was tabling and sharing information. I mean, we were raised like this isn't work to her. There are people who need help and she's gonna help them.
She stood beside people during some of the toughest moments of their lives.
It was so simple for her because it is just who she is.
When I was hired, I wanted to have a deputy director, and I centered pretty quickly on Yvonne. I've always said that was the first and best decision I ever made as executive director. When she's in the room, people gravitate to her, they listen to her.
There are certain people who, when they call and they need something, they ask for something, you might as well say yes, because you're going to eventually say yes, because they're always right. I've never heard her raise her voice, never saw her get angry, but don't mistake her understatedness for a lack of toughness. She was indefatigable when it came to fighting on behalf of her clients.
Today we're celebrating something extraordinary. 25 years of helping people who thought they had nowhere to turn find their way through the judicial system.
Yvonne and Neil came up with this idea that we would create a self-help center where we would train clients to represent themselves before the court. And it's one of the most successful programs that I've been associated with.
Today, the Self-Help Legal Access Centers operate in 9 courthouses across the county, assisting more than 150,000 people per year.
When Yvonne gets involved in something, she's not just a passive participant. She's in the middle of everything. She never quits, and she's always trying to find a solution.
We were at a community meeting in the evening at a church, and there must have been about 200 people in the auditorium. And somebody raised their hand and said, could we talk about foreclosure? I said, how many of you are impacted by foreclosure? Just about everybody in the room raised their hand. People were coming forward. They were so ashamed that they were losing their homes. They felt they had done something wrong. We were able to get the banks to work with us, work with our families, and we saved hundreds of homes because of that. And we went to the state legislature and we said, you don't have control over the national banks, but you do have control over our foreclosure laws in the state of California. And out of that effort came the California Homeowner Bill of Rights. Some of those clients continued to be in touch with me and let me know that what their kids are, they've gone to college.
Where she comes from is the community. I mean, she is all about what's best for the clients.
She started as a paralegal and worked her way up to a staff attorney doing a lot of housing work, became a managing attorney, a directing attorney, deputy director, and then a director. She's a really good strategic thinker to really help us formulate the right paths for legal services.
And Yvonne brings a sense of ensuring that we're all moving forward, not just her organization, but all of us together as women of color that run organizations. It can be very difficult, it can be very lonely. Yvonne has changed that dynamic. And she's not just a legal aid leader, she's also a fashion leader for us because she looks to the nines every single time. Suits and colors that bring out the light in her.
I tell people that is my mother, and she is the boss lady, because she did that in a time where not a lot of women were the leaders of organizations.
She doesn't have to give long speeches about perseverance, she just lives it. She taught us success is not measured by our achievements, but rather how we use those achievements to lift others up.
She helped build an incredible organization. We used to be a tiny little legal aid program, and now we're one of the larger legal aid programs serving a very large geographic area. That's an incredible accomplishment, and she was part of all of it.
You know, poverty does things to people. Those experiences never leave you. And I think that the people that were in my life, my teachers, my mentors, they opened doors for me, and they helped me become the person I am today, but also instilled in me that duty to look behind you and help others coming behind you. And this is our mission. This is why we're here.